As Fortnite gets more and more competitive, it's become extremely hard to keep winning your fights. So I compiled some of the best tips into 4 parts, ranging all the way from basic to advanced tips only the best players know. And some of the tips get really interesting, so make sure to stick to the end. But for the first tip in the basic section, I'm going to talk about aim training. Aim training is very important because, well, you need good aim to actually shoot opponents and kill them. And every single pro has good aim, so this is why it's good to practice your aim every single day so that you can always be improving. Also, make sure to be practicing with different kind of weapons so that your aim isn't one-sided to shotguns or ARs or anything like that. You want to have well-rounded aim so that players never know what you're going to do next and they will never be able to counter against it. But fortunately, there are many maps that help people practice this very easily nowadays. But for the next tip in the basic section, I'm going to talk about piece control maps. Nowadays, there are lots of piece control maps that can help you practice your piece control. And piece control is very important because you can't just go up to someone and shoot them. In some way, you have to trick your opponent so that they don't know what you're going to do next. And these piece control maps can help you do that. And lots of the maps actually will damage you if you do something wrong so that you can actually get good peaks at the same time. But now for the last basic tip, I'm going to talk about free building. And no, I'm not talking about going into any blank creative island and just building to your heart's content. While free building, you gotta have intent to it and pretend that there's players around that you're full boxing and killing. This can help practice get the piece control from the last tip into your actual gameplay and help it start flowing. This will just help build your muscle memory, and it'll also help make you build faster and better, which is still important to a certain extent. But that's it for more basic free building, which I'll expand on later in the video. But now that we're done with the basic tips, let's move on to the good tips. The first of which is going to be baits and phases. Like I already mentioned earlier, you can't just go up to someone's box like this and then just do a Mongo classic into it anymore. Pros used to dominate like this, but now players have gotten smarter. So I'm going to show you some tips that'll actually work to help you win your fights more and to trick out your opponents. First of all, it's good to come in from a diagonal because they don't know which side that you're going to go to. You can also use tips like ramps to just jump right into their box even if they're holding it. You can also use this corner to an advantage again by faking shooting at both walls so they don't know which one you're actually going to go to. Then sneakily you can make them think that you're committing to one wall and then just switch back to the other one really quick. But now for the expansion on the free build tip I just talked about, I like to practice bot free building. This is basically normal free building, but you have these bots walking around that you have to constantly be adapting your free build to kill. Because before I was just telling you to free build and box randomly in the middle of the air, but now you actually have to adapt around players like you would have to do in a real game. And some maps like this one actually have bots that will fight back against you if you hit them for damage, which makes it especially hard to adapt around all the bots that are chasing you. And it can actually get pretty chaotic, so I like to practice these. This is also really good for practicing your piece control from the earlier tips. But for the next tip I'm going to talk about is playing against players that are better than you. The better you are, obviously, the harder it's going to be able to find better players than you, but finding better players than you can help you adapt to their gameplay style and just become better in general. So also, the more players you play against, the better you'll become, because you're adapting to way more gameplay styles. But next, moving into the advanced category, I like to do VOD reviewing. If you don't already know, VOD reviewing is just looking back at your gameplay and seeing what you did wrong or right. This can help you improve a ton because you can just focus on your weaknesses, which are the worst parts of your gameplay, so that you can eliminate those and ultimately become better at the game. For example, as you can see, I died here, and I can see that I died here because I was just messing up all my builds, and I should have gotten out of his box when I saw him racing towards me about to box me. Or here, looking at his gameplay, I can see that I beat him here because he got stuck in his builds because I did a confusing edit that messed him up. So in VOD reviewing, you can look at what you did bad or what you did good, and with the good things, do that more, and with the bad things, do those less. Which with this targeting practice can help you improve much faster than many other methods. But now for the next advanced tip, I'm going to talk about creative playstyles and peaks. This ties into many other things that I've said before. Having a creative playstyle and having different things that people aren't expecting will help you a lot in confusing your opponents and getting free shots off. So rather than going up to someone's box, taking their wall, and doing a peanut butter edit, Try to make something creative with lots of builds that they won't be expecting and won't be able to play against. You can literally practice putting random edits together and seeing if they work. Also, many pros become good by popularizing certain techniques that people use a lot nowadays. But now for the last advanced tip before the pro tips, I'm going to talk about muscle memory. To become good at Fortnite, you want to have almost everything that you do semi-regularly under your muscle memory. This is why many players have certain edits literally done in one frame because they've just done them so many times. This is how pros almost never mess up. Some pros can do triple edits and even quad edits literally with their eyes closed. This muscle memory will make it so you can think about other things like game sense or what your opponent's going to do next while you're just building without thinking at all. But now that I'm finished with the advanced tips, let's get into the final pro tips that every single pro player uses. And these will also be the most useful tips, so make sure to continue watching. And the first pro tip is to constantly fight. If you've ever watched pro players playing and you join their stream, you'll see that they're almost always in a fight. This is because they're always W keying or doing whatever they can in rapid maps or whatever, just to always be fighting and getting in as much practice as possible. In addition to them playing a lot of Fortnite, this helps them get so much practice that they just naturally become better. So doing this, along with things like VOD reviewing, as mentioned earlier, can help you improve at rapid rates faster than all your friends. In addition, this can help you get adapted to the new metas and weapons that are added into the game, just once again by pounding practice with them into your brain. But for the next tip, it actually isn't even in Fortnite. It's just setting goals. Setting goals can be super important because when you set goals, you will constantly be striving to reach them. So, setting the right goals and always going towards them. But for the last tip, it's actually just to get off Fortnite. It seems super surprising because you're trying to get better at Fortnite, but taking breaks and getting off of Fortnite is really important after lots of practice. This is because after practicing, getting off Fortnite can just give you a break and actually help your muscle memory and other things remember what you just learned. This is similar to other things like learning something in school or doing homework. Right after you study or do your homework or even play Fortnite, going to sleep or taking a break can actually help you remember the information you learned and help you better use it in the future. If you found this video interesting, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.